What's going on in the Idaho University murders case, prosecution of Bryan Kohberger? The court held two lengthy hearings with regard to the defense's survey and questions of potential jurors. The defense is arguing that the way they do the surveys is absolutely necessary for them to meet their burden on their upcoming motion to change venue. They have said that Latah County is not a county where they can hold this trial for Bryan Kohberger whenever a trial date is set, sometime in the summer or after of 2025. I think it is a bit early for this motion to be held. Jury pools can shift and change, but the defense believes that this needs to be heard and determined now. And the court said, as Judge does, basically, let's see what happened. Let's hold the hearing. Let's hear the motions. I'm worried at the end of the day, Judge is going to hear the motions and be like, you know what? It's too soon. I am very worried that that's going to be the end result of all of this, that Judge hears all of the motions with all of the work and is like, let's revisit this in 8 months. Like, I'm nervous. The prosecution has argued that the questions on the survey violate the non-dissemination order made by the court. They did not argue that this type of survey cannot be done. They did not argue that this type of survey was improper. They argued that the questions asked violate the non-dissemination order. The court brought in the expert and did an extensive hearing with the expert, who was pissed at the prosecution and the internet for insinuating that he had somehow tainted the jury pool, which is basically what the prosecution was arguing, that asking these questions that are so pointed, that have information in them that is not factual, could further exaggerate the problem by tainting the jury pool by now asking people these direct questions. Not just, have you heard anything about the case, but did you hear that Bryan Kohberger stalked one of the victims? Did you hear that Bryan Kohberger followed one of the victims on social media? Those pointed questions. The expert came in and said, look, that's the only way to really know what people know. If you ask, have you heard about this case? People say yes. We ask them, what have you heard? But when we ask these specific questions, they go, oh yeah, I had heard that. So when their memory is prodded a little bit, they actually oftentimes know more than they've disclosed. And then they were able to collate that between how many facts about the case the person knew and whether or not they had formed an opinion about the case or could keep an open mind about the case, which is what they need to show when they go to a motion to change venue, saying, hey, based on our sample size, the members of this community know too much about this case to be an impartial jury. And that is what the law entitles the defendant to receive. So the court published April 19th. Here is the court's 6-page order. Order of the court. Judge's order allowing the defense questions to continue is basically that what is in the public record is what is in the public court record. He then said, caveat, everything in these two hearings over the surveys is now in the public record. And because everything is in the public record and none of you asked to have the hearing sealed, then the questions can continue unmodified because it is now all part of the public court record. But the court was very clear to maintain his distinction that the public record was the public court record, not what may be in the public sphere in media or social media reporting. But the court mentioned it multiple times that the parties did not ask to keep things sealed. The reason the prosecution seems to not want the hearing sealed is because the prosecution filed their motion under seal and then the defense filed their motion publicly. Is there an argument that the defense forced this into the court record by their filings? I mean, maybe they forced the prosecution's hand, but the prosecution then read all of those questions into the record in court, not the defense. So the court has said, because this is now all part of the public record, it does not violate the non-dissemination order, and the surveys can continue in the other counties, and the motion for change of venue will be heard by the court on June 27th, 2024 at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I will talk to you in the next one. Bye, Law Nerds. For deep dives into the stories that I covered here, you can find them on my YouTube channel at The Emily D. Baker and The Emily Show podcast. I stream every Tuesday and Thursday. The podcast goes live on Wednesdays. And if you want to stay in the loop with everything I'm doing, receive the fastest notifications out there, and get more Law Nerd community, join me at lawnerdapp.com, our free app for iOS and Android.